Hello again. So we live in a fast-paced environment with increasing financial pressure. Maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be hard work at times. The rise of meal kit services provides a healthy alternative to junk food. One such provider is the Plates and Scales Company. The company creates individually prepared meals with help of dietitians and psychologists. Company founder Riabedri Mokoko and her business partner, who's also a dietitian, Constance Dikale, join us now to tell us more on this. Ladies, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. So, Papa Lemorogo, and we transitioned now to say, okay, let's see, not that it's not healthy, because Papa Lemorogo is a very healthy alternative. Yes. But what you guys do, what brought this about, first of all, Ria?
Okay. So what I realized as a student dietitian, what I realized is that most of the time, poor compliance from clients is not really because they don't want to eat healthy. Most of them lead busy lifestyles. They don't have time to cook. And as dietitians, what we do most of the time is we give you a meal plan and we're like, okay, Dudu, figure your way out.
Yeah.
Dudu gets home, she is busy, she works from 9 until whatever time. When she comes back home, she has things that she needs to attend to. She hardly has the time to be able to create those meals that we put there that she must eat. So then the poor compliance comes in. So we thought, okay, let's make our clients' lives a bit easier. Let's actually make these meals for them, as we already have a catering division.
Right.
Yes.
So as a dietitian, when somebody walks through your doors and they come to you with their child or by themselves, what happens?
Well, it's a whole host of different things happen, but we firstly go through an assessment. The beauty about what we do at Plates and Scales is that it's a multidisciplinary approach. So we'll have a nurse that will take in all the vitals. We'll have a psychologist that come and take in the psychosocial assessment of the client. And then we'll come in terms of that main intervention where we talk about food and how they go about implementing that healthy lifestyle.
Right. Why was it so important that it was a multifaceted approach and it's not just about food, but also you take care of people's mental health?
Because food is not just one-dimensional. You can emotionally eat, you know. We eat when we're happy. So food is not necessarily something that we just do blindly. Food is information. So we put food in our system and we expect it to do things. So it's important that everybody plays a role in terms of speaking about the food that people eat. It just makes sense.
Ria, do you find that we know what we put into our bodies? As you mentioned earlier, leading these busy lifestyles, you just grab things on the go and you just don't know what you're putting in your body.
No. I think people don't have access to the correct information as to what they really need to eat. Like, for example, yesterday I have a client who is hypertensive, which is high blood pressure. So we decided that we're going to go the extra step with our clients and we'll actually do what we call kitchen raids. So we come into your cupboards to actually check what you are buying, what you're cooking, how you're cooking and things like that, to just guide you on the correct path. And literally when I was done with his kitchen, he was like, oh my gosh, my fridge is empty, my cupboard is empty. It means that I was not doing anything correct. People they don't know about things such as like hidden salts. That even if you have high blood pressure and you're not supposed to be using salt, things like beef stock, chicken stock, your spices actually do have salt, and they're called the hidden salts.
And those are things that we grew up with, right? Yes. It was normal. Those are things that our parents used to cook, and those are things we used to cook naturally.
It's our day-by-day things, yes.
So it's so interesting because then you have to unlearn everything you thought you knew about cooking. When we look at what we feed our children, as well, how important is it that we not only look after them in terms of needs for school and everything, but their bodies and what we give them?
Well, obviously we're looking at a growing trend of childhood obesity in our country, and our children now are the victims of what the parents give them because they're at the mercy of their parents. And it's very important what you give your kids because you set the tone for the rest of their lives. Like you said, the spices is the way we've been cooking, so there's no other thing that you might know. But if you teach them early that food can actually be healthy and tasty and good from the get-go before trying to make changes later on, it's going to be a lot easier.
What has been the response, Ree, to what you guys do? Because I can only imagine, like, if somebody coming to my house and looking at my cupboard, but I know, like, this does this or that does that.
Yes. The response is actually amazing. The clients are actually thankful because we are exposing them to things that they never thought that they were doing wrong. The client yesterday was like, my blood pressure has been uncontrolled for a long time. My doctor keeps saying to me, I must stop eating salt, but I'm not eating salt. And only for him to realize, when I was showing him and teaching him how to read food labels, to show him that no, there is actually salt in these products. And it's actually like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. I wouldn't be doing it. I wouldn't be putting my life at risk had I known that these products that I was relying on day to day, cooking with them, adding them to my food, could actually kill me. So, yeah.
The food that you eat sometimes could actually
kill you.
Kill you.
Yeah.
Yes.
When we look at the psychologists and that aspect that you offer as a company, how does that work?
So it depends on which program the client will be on. We have a Healthy Me program, which is targeted at young obese children and overweight children. They will go through the assessments with the psychologist. It's not just a psychologist. We have a nurse on board, and we also have a biokineticist. And that will be somebody who will try to encourage and implement physical activity in the young child's life. I think the idea there is also not just for the child, but to make it a holistic thing, including the parents. Because it's one thing to try to bring the child and say, look, you need to lose the weight or whatever. But the person who is probably mostly responsible is the parent. So we try to make a holistic approach to the whole thing. So the psychologist will obviously look at what are the triggers. Why is it that mom wants to give a sweet to reward? Why is it that we're turning to these type of foods as opposed to the healthy type of foods? And I think it's just grassroots education, and trying to instill those good practices from the parents going to the kids.
Because also kids see what we do.
Absolutely.
Yes, they learn from us.
emulate from us.
I literally tell parents that children are born without knowing sweet, sour, and things like that. And we're the ones that build up the liking that what kids will turn to deviate towards. Because if kids are surrounded by sugars and salts and fats, that's where they'll tend to steer. In my house, like my kids know that. My son will even say, is it because you always want us to eat healthy because you're a dietitian? She'll be like, my mom does. All we eat is fruits and veggies because she's a dietitian. Like, it's all.
She'll grow up and thank you later. Ladies, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Plates and Scales founders Riabejwe Mokoko, as well as dietitian Constance Dikgale. Thank you once again for joining us.